The mostly weekly podcast from Root and Hero Plumbing and Air. Here to talk to heroes about business and the trades. With your host David and Cat, they're on the attack, oh yeah. This is the Hero Talk theme song, ooh yeah. This is Podcast Weekly. Well, mostly it is, don't worry about it, okay? This is the Hero Talk theme song, ooh yeah.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Hero Talk, the mostly weekly podcast from Rooter Hero Plumbing and Air. I'm David. I'm one of the hosts here because we have two, with the second host being
Cat. And together we're on the attack.
That's right.
We sure are.
We're on the prowl. We're on the attack, which we just said. So it is what it is.
It is
and
what it is.
we are who we are. And if we weren't, I was trying to spin that into like an Eminem lyric, but yeah,
And if we weren't, this wouldn't be Hero Talk.
that's true. It would be something else. I don't know what it would be. Definitely wouldn't be at school.
True. Speaking of something else, you rebranded your podcast.
Oh yeah.
Want to talk
Yeah.
about that?
Well, yeah. So it's complicated.
Why?
Well, did you read my post about it?
I saw the picture and I liked it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
I don't think that had a caption. It was just a picture.
okay. So
Yeah, no, I did not see that.
okay, I'm going to just read what I put here. Not that this has anything to do with Hero Talk, but hey, it is what it is.
But you're a host and
So,
it does. It's a
yep.
podcast.
So back in early 2023, someone reached out to me on LinkedIn praising me for the name of the podcast, which was Caffeinated CX, right? It's my customer experience, contact center, blah, blah, blah podcast that I do to the side of this, right? Cool. It wasn't out of the ordinary for this to happen. It was and is a cool name for a customer experience podcast.
Sure is.
So my first impressions was like, hey, maybe he wants to be on it. Maybe he wants to sell me something. Which turns out he did. The podcast had been around for a year and a half-ish at that point, publicly, and an additional 6 months just internally here at Rooter Hero Plumbing and Air.
Yeah.
Right. Before then, it was Coffee with Dave, and then there was an offshoot called Caffeinated CX, and then I brought Caffeinated CX public.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple days after that message, he sent me another one saying that he owned the URL caffeinatedcx.com, which was a little weird, but
That is a little
whatever.
weird.
There, I included a screenshot, which I did not censor very well. I meant to. I censored all but the top
But
where his name
I
is.
just saw that.
That was an accident. It is what it is. So, again, like I said on my blog post, I censored as much as I could with the 15-second limit.
Mhm.
So, and even though a podcast is technically trademarked at first publication, right? Dude stole my name for some AI software. Whatever. It is what it is. I didn't care about that.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, bro. At the time, I thought it was silly. Like, as in, what a silly goose. Then he launched a podcast called Caffeinated CX, which was like, all right, buddy, that's going a little bit too far.
Wow.
So, and then, friends, LinkedIn buddies, everyone else was reaching out to me. So I went to check it out. And when I said, hey, that's a nice podcast name on one of their posts, I got blocked immediately, which was funny. So, whatever. I put it to the back of my mind. Don't worry about it because I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And I could ignore whatever they were doing.
Were they even talking about customer experience and customer service?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Same category, same niche, same everything. Just kind of capitalizing on the name of mine. So, then...
And what yours is about.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. So then a couple of months ago, my friend Rob reached out to me asking how a certain guest was on my podcast, which, for those that listen to my other podcasts, you'll know how rare it is for me to have a guest. It's like, I've had like 4 or 5 guests, maybe, in 191 episodes.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's getting up there. Which, mostly because I don't like scheduling guests. It is what it is. That seems like a lot of work. So, the guest had been on the other Caffeinated CX podcast. So,
Oh, wow.
it is what it is. So, now since since my mantra of 2024 is, it is what it is, and the fact that I don't use Caffeinated CX to sell anything, or run ads, or pitch projects, or products, or anything like that, it's just a way of me giving back to the industry, right? So, I'm changing the name of the podcast to CX Riot Radio, which I think is a little bit catchier.
Okay.
And allows me to do a couple of things. One, I'm a creature of chaos.
Look at a shirt.
Yeah. And this allows me to rebrand and rebuild it. And I like doing that. That's one of my favorite things to do. Is just rebuilding, rebranding, and building from scratch.
True.
I love doing it. So, it'll bring me some more pleasure in life. And who couldn't use that? So, it allows me to do more with the name than just a podcast. So I can use it for my music projects, which is a good thing. And number 3, do I need a third one? I don't know. If so, I can stop worrying about some jerk who blatantly stole my IP, block me, and continue to use it. So, there we go.
What a jerk.
Yeah, what this guy did was morally and ethically wrong, of course. But it gives me the opportunity to do something new. Right? The funny thing is, if it still stands, and let me see, because as of yesterday, the caffeinatedcx.com, which he tried to sell me, he had it because I've been to it before. It's hawking the AI software. It's now, the page is gone. So, it is what it is. Yeah.
Wow.
So, what are you going to do? It's just one of those fun things in life. So,
Well, here's to your new
yeah.
CX Riot Radio.
Yeah, I think it's a much catchier name. So, which took me all of
2 seconds.
yeah, pretty much. I had a few names picked out for it, and that one just stood out to me the most. So, although I did like Customer Science Theater 3000, but there's also a show called Mystery Science Theater 3000, which is what I was basing it off of, and I think that would have been cool, but it is what it is.
I like the Riot Radio better.
Yeah,
Shorter.
it's shorter, yeah.
Catchier.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. So, posted that blog yesterday.
What a jerk.
Yep. It is what it is. It takes all kinds to make a world.
True.
And everybody marches to the beat of their own drummer. Some of those drummers are jerks.
Sure.
So, that's what's been going on with me. How about you, Kat?
I'm good.
Good. Have you had any of your intellectual property stolen?
No. Thank God.
Okay.
But guess what?
But,
I finished my book.
good job.
I finished it last week and I forgot to tell you on Friday.
Oh, okay. So what book are you reading now?
I'm between 2, but I did start one. I'm in 1 chapter into it, so I might just finish that one. It's called, I can't remember. I have it on my Audible, but that one's about time traveling.
Oh.
So we'll see.
Back to the Future?
She talks and then goes back. I don't know how to explain it. I'm only 1 chapter in, but
okay.
But I'll let you know. But
Alright.
the book I thought I would hate, I ended up really liking it.
Good.
It only took more than half the book for me to like.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes the second half much stronger than the first half.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But it needed that to get to where it was.
Yeah.
It needed that build up.
I understand completely. I'm
Yeah.
not ignoring you. I'm looking for something.
No, it's fine. So yeah, pretty good. I'll see what book I read next.
Yeah. Like, I'm reading a book right now, and I thought I took a picture of it, but I didn't. I did it on Instagram and posted it as a story, which I guess didn't save. So
It's gonna
on
be
my
on your
camera roll.
archive.
Yeah, I guess. So I don't know how to get there, but like
The top.
let's see. It's
Oh.
yeah, there we go. Look at this. The book is called Rework. Let me save that. I'm done. Okay. They don't have no tires, just gas.
Oh yeah.
And this book, so far it's good. I'm about halfway through. I got it on Saturday.
Okay.
And the back of it says ASAP is poison. Underdo the competition. Meetings are toxic. Fire the workaholics. Emulate drug dealers. Pick a fight. Planning is guessing. Inspiration is perishable.
Interesting.
Yep, on Audible, because I got it there too. Why did I get it on both?
You have to.
I don't know.
You just
Yeah,
have to
I just did.
sometimes. That's what I
So,
do.
and it was cheap on Audible, so that's fine.
I thought they were knocking.
Says have to deal with that.
Be quiet. All right, so,
You only have 2 hours left?
well, I think that's misnomer. It's only 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Ah.
So, which, if I go here,
And then you speed it up.
well, look how much it was.
$27?
$27.
Books are so expensive. It's not even.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. It's not even fair.
So, there's the website. I'm not going to tell you about it, but if you go to, if you Google, I'm not going to give you the URL, but if you Google Oceans of PDF, you might find something, you might not. I don't know.
No, we don't know.
There's something I heard. This is completely hearsay, but apparently you'll find something if you Google that. So, it is what it is.
There you go.
But yeah, I bought the physical copy of it. So,
Let me know if it's good.
so far it is.
Okay.
So far it is. And why do you fire the workaholics, according to the book?
Why?
Let me get to it.
Oh.
I took a picture of the pages, which would be...
Did they also save? Or did they not save?
I'll add it to this thing. Stories. Boom. Boom. Done. Okay.
So, guys, why do you fire the workaholics?
Well, here's why. Our culture celebrates the idea of the workaholic. We hear about people burning the midnight oil. They pull all-nighters and sleep at the office. It's considered a badge of honor to kill yourself over a project. No amount of work is too much work. Not only is this workaholism unnecessary, it's stupid. It's like I wrote it.
Yeah.
This is my style. Working more doesn't mean you care more or get more done. It just means you work more.
Yeah.
Workaholics wind up creating more problems than they solve. First off, working like that isn't sustainable over time. When the burnout crash comes, and it will hit that much harder. Workaholics miss the point too. They try to fix problems by throwing sheer hours at them. They try to make up for intellectual laziness with brute force. This results in inelegant solutions. They even create crises. They don't look for ways to be more efficient because they actually like working overtime. They enjoy feeling like heroes. They create problems, often unwittingly, just so they can get off on working more. Workaholics make the people who don't stay late feel inadequate for merely working reasonable hours. That leads to guilt and poor morale all around. Plus, it leads to half-ass and seat mentality. People stay late out of obligation even if they aren't really being productive. If all you do is work, you're unlikely to have sound judgments. Your values and decision making wind up skewed. You stop being able to decide what's worth extra effort and what's not. and you wind up just plain tired. No one makes sharp decisions when tired. In the end, workaholics don't actually accomplish more than non workaholics. They may claim to be perfectionists, but that just means they're wasting time fixating on inconsequential details instead of moving on to the next task. Workaholics are not heroes. They don't save the day, they just use it up. The real hero is already home because they figured out a faster way to get things done.
Wow.
So, that's from Rework. So far, it's like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with it.
So, let's go ahead and shift over to what we're actually talking about.
Oh, we're already 15 minutes in.
All right, guys. So, I mean, that has to do with like what we're talking about, you know? So today, David, what are we talking about?
We are going to be talking about leadership capital,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a bank account of influence for leaders.
Yes.
So,
The full definition is leadership capital refers to the trust, respect, and influence of a leader that accumulates over time.
so,
There you go.
and leaders can take that capital that they built up and they can either invest it, get more, or waste it. They can spend it unwisely.
Very true.
So, but first, let's talk about ways of building it up, and then we'll talk about all the ways there are to waste it and why it's a finite resource. If you run out, you run out, and you are bankrupt.
Yeah.
So, and then no matter what you do, no matter what you say, it's going to take a long time to build that capital back up. So, best not waste it.
True.
So, number one.
Number one.
Communicate transparently and regularly with your team, sharing both successes, challenges, whatever comes along. In fact, some of the time can be spent just shooting the breeze with your team, getting to know them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And having them get to know you a bit, all within keeping like professional boundaries, of course, right?
course.
You don't want to, go drinking with your team, right? It's a bad look. Bad things happen when that happens.
We mix alcohol.
Yeah, don't do that. So, yeah, that's bad. But following through on commitments that you've made, right? If you said, "Hey, I'm going to get you a raise," actually follow through with that raise. Don't be like, "Oh, I'm going to give you a raise," and then come back the next day and be like, "Sorry." If you're not certain that a raise is coming, you'll be like, "I will put in for a raise for you. Let's see how it goes." Right? This is the reality, and then be honest with them. Right? If there's not enough money in the budget for a raise, explain that to them. Right? It might not be the answer they want to hear, but it's the answer they need to hear.
Yeah.
Right? Don't keep them guessing. Don't keep them floating. Don't ghost them on it. Right? Things like that. So, it's not always in the direct supervisor's, the direct manager's power to actually dole out that raise. Sometimes that has to come through HR. Sometimes that has to go through financing, things like that. And the more the person asking for it is aware of that, the better it's going to be. And then you don't have to lose capital off of that because literally you lied to them.
Yeah.
If you
It's
lie
all
to your
life.
people, just as if you were lying to your spouse or your significant other, right? Nothing good will come of it. So, even little white lies.
Yeah.
And that goes into coaching and performance improvement as well. Don't tell white lies about that. Don't say everything's good
When it's not.
when it's not. There's just so many coaches get that wrong, right? So, and then also talking about the future, right? And a vision for that future.
Yeah.
Hey, this is where we're going. This is where you're going to be when we get there, right? This is where everything will eventually line up, and have it compelling, and have it what's in it for them, right? You can talk all day about like how much you want the company to succeed and what the company needs to succeed, and this, that, and the other. Most people, let's face it, don't care about that. They care about what's in it for them,
Yeah.
right? Why am I doing all this work? Is it so the CEO can buy a yacht? Or is it so that I can have a retirement fund and I can retire before the age of 87? Stuff like that. All good stuff, right? So, I already pointed at this, but investing the time in cultivating like actual real relationships with the team members and key people in the company, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean what you're thinking. I mean like on a one-to-one level.
Yeah.
Get to know people, right? Know what makes them tick. Get to the point where if something's wrong, you can instinctively feel it.
Yeah.
So even through a text message. If someone usually writes you a paragraph of text and they start doing sentences or one word,
Okay.
it's like something's up. You need to find out what's going on. Obviously. So those are ways that you can gain and start banking.
Yeah.
Do you have any others?
Also the support and advocate for others.
Oh yeah. See, it goes back. I think we already discussed this portion, right? When you're a leader, your team doesn't work for you. You work for the team. You're there to support the team, give them what they need, on a realistic level, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they need a house, chances are you can't really provide them a house, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen some companies where they actually have like transportation for their people. Like I've worked at a place that if you needed it, there was a bus that would take you to the call center.
That's cool.
So for free, because it was part of your compensation package.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, or making sure they have the right equipment or the right training. That's where most people have the most control.
Yeah.
Is over equipment and training. And if you don't have control over the equipment, at least you should have control over the training.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Very
Support.
True. These are kind of like what you said. I have building trust and reputation, and that just kind of ties back to don't lie. Like as simple as that is, don't lie.
Right.
And then also I have vulnerability. Mismanagement, ethical lapses, or failures can erode leadership capital, making it important for leaders to act with integrity and accountability.
Right. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Don't drop your phone.
I didn't. So now, how can this hard-earned capital, get destroyed? Very easily, honestly.
Very, very, very easy. All right, so how it can be destroyed. It's very, very easy, and I've seen it happen so often, right? So, failing to deliver on promises you made, right? I mean,
Breaking that trust.
if you lie, right? Or if you're not careful in how you phrase things, right? Because you could be like talking, right? And it sounds like you're making a promise when you're just talking possibilities,
Yeah.
right? So always be mindful of how you phrase things. And if it's not a definite, don't phrase it as a definite, right? And make it clear that it's not a definite. So you can use things like if we get this approved, right? Not when I get this approved.
Yeah.
Because it might not get approved. You don't know. So sometimes things fall through. Sometimes things happen, right? Sometimes one thing in a business doesn't work out the way everyone wanted to, which affects every other part of the business, right? Let's say one of your service locations or a division tanks and like loses a bunch of money.
Yeah.
That affects all the other aspects of the business, right?
True.
So because you have to make up that shortfall. So making decisions or taking actions that aren't aligned with the company's values or what the leader said their values were.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just a disconnect that you don't need. So always have a set in stone set of guiding principles, values, whatever.
Yeah, here
Right?
we have our values first.
Yeah, right. And live by those. Like, when nobody can see you, when you're at home, you should also be living by those, especially when it comes to making business decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and if you're talking to someone and they point at the value system, right? And they're like, where is that on here? You better have a damn good answer.
True.
So, all right. So, poorly communicating, you have to be a really good communicator. If you're not, get that way.
Yeah.
And that takes time, that takes practice, that takes training. Not everybody is a born communicator. So, in fact, most people are not.
Yeah.
Most people can't stand in front of a crowd or hit record on OBS, right, or Zoom or whatever, and just talk.
Yeah.
Most people cannot do that. They get nervous, they start stammering, they talk over their own words, and their message gets lost. You have to get good at speaking. You have to get good at communication. And if you're not good at vocal communication, you better be doubly good on written.
Yeah.
So, and vice versa.
Yeah. Find
So-
what works for you so you can be that great communicator.
Yeah. Now, most people will, let's face it, is it fair? No. Most people will go for the ones who communicate well vocally.
Because it's quicker.
It's quicker. You get more motivated by the sound of a voice than you do words on a page or an email. And, but it is what it is. Wrongly or rightly, that's just the way it is. It's very hard to get motivated by words on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's like it's possible, but not as likely. So, let's see.
It's basically like the opposite of everything that we said.
Yeah,
Because now
basically.
it's neglecting to develop
Oh
relationships.
yeah, if you keep everybody at arm's length and you never make time for one-on-ones or the hey, got a minutes, right? Which I know a lot of the gurus talk about how those are such a waste of time and that you should always say no to that or keep your office door closed.
Yeah,
That is
it's
stupid.
Really not.
That is stupid. That is moronic. And you will lose all of your leadership capital of that.
Yeah.
Yes, there is times where you need to be left alone to do heads down work. Either schedule that at the very, very beginning of your day before other people have shown up, or do it at the end of the day after most people have gone home.
True.
So that stuff should not be scheduled for the middle of the day
Yeah.
when people are around you and when people, if you're a leader, when people need you.
And you want to be like approachable as a leader. Like
Of course.
you don't want to be scared to go talk to your boss.
Right.
You know?
Right. And so that is something that, like, yeah, if you're afraid to talk to your boss, or if you're a boss and your people are afraid to talk to you, well, what's happening?
Yeah. You're lacking qualities of
Or
good leader.
sometimes it can be that they've had bad bosses in the past who, whenever they brought up something, would get screamed at,
Yeah.
threatened to be
That's
fired,
true.
and that kind of sticks with them. But you got to break down those walls, right? It's like, I'm not that person. You can talk.
Yeah, and that comes from those one-on-ones and everything in between.
Yep.
So just don't neglect to develop those relationships.
Yep. So, always be developing new leaders, right? If you're not, then, well, you have nowhere to invest your stuff into, honestly.
Yeah.
And then bad stuff can happen because if you haven't cultivated leaders that can take over for you, right? That can step up and fill your place, even if temporarily, there are some things that are going to happen. One, if you get hit by a bus,
Oh.
right?
Don't get hit by a bus.
I'm not saying me, I'm saying you. Not you. Universal you.
Okay.
If the leader gets hit by a bus, right, and can't make it to work because they're dead, or they're in the hospital, the entire department's going to fall apart, right? Because the leader made it so that only they can lead, only they have all the knowledge, right? Which is a bad thing to happen.
Yeah.
The other thing is that leader will never be able to go on vacation.
Yeah.
So, which, if they have a family, they're not going to have a family for long.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That's why you gotta fire the workaholics.
Yep.
See, we're tying this all together.
Tying it all back in. And then 3, you should always make yourself as replaceable as possible, depending on your company's culture. If your company culture allows upward mobility, right, you will never get promoted if you don't make yourself replaceable. Because who's going to do the job?
Yeah.
So you should spread it around. There should be a core group that could take over for each other at a moment's notice, right? Now, if you're in a bad company culture where they'll be like, oh, well, this person's trained up, we could pay this person $20,000 less a year. Bye.
Yeah.
And then you might want to be a little bit more guarded.
More valuable. Show your value.
Until you can segue out of that place.
Yeah.
So, because you don't want to stay there, because you'll never move up anywhere. So, and then you won't get more money, which means your career will stall out, and you'll be working until you're that 87, doing the same thing every day, never moving your career or your life forward.
And we don't want
good.
that.
Not good stuff. So, if you act impulsively, right? If you just go in one day and start firing or writing people up for little tiny infractions, you're going to waste your leadership capital, and you're going to waste it fast. That's like going to Vegas and going to like blackjack and then like betting all your money on a really bad bowl, right?
Yeah.
So, and that goes into things like I said, write-ups, right? So, you don't need to write everything up, right? You don't need to write up every single infraction that someone does. Save the write-ups, save the corrective actions for things that need corrective actions. Don't write someone up because they were 5 minutes late. You can write someone up who's 5 minutes late habitually.
Yeah, every day for the past week.
Yeah, that's different. But if you, let's take it into account. If you treat every infraction equally, right? You're writing up people for being 5 minutes late if that's your policy, right? So, and then you're also writing someone up for swearing on the phone, right? Same corrective action, right? Because it's a form. And there's different degrees, but like, you know, you have to follow the corrective action forms. So, is being 5 minutes late
the equivalent
of like cursing at a customer on the phone?
Yeah, no.
It's like, first of all, cursing at a customer on the phone is like a terminal thing. It's like they should be terminated, right? Being 5 minutes late is like,
it can be a conversation.
Is a conversation. It's like, hey, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
So, as opposed to the other one, and then, but if you treat them equally, right? What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's crazy. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. So, but there are ways to spend it wisely, right? But those are the ways to spend it wastefully.
Yes.
Because as much time as it takes to build leadership capital, you can lose it all in a day. You can have a really bad day, and if you don't know how to control your emotions, let's say you're a mid-level manager, right? You have a team of 10 people, and your boss is getting after you because of the people on your team, right? They're not pulling their weight. They're not hitting their metrics, right? And the boss comes down on the team lead, the supervisor, whatever, right? So there's layers. And because of that, instead of the supervisor or whatever looking in the mirror and being like, what did I do so my team performed so poorly?
Yeah.
Right? They take it out on the team, right? And they take it out on the team by putting them on pips, or they write them up, or they start getting snarky or sarcastic, shit, stuff like that.
Family friendly.
Thought I was on my other podcast for a second. The uncensored HeroTalk. Just kidding. Yeah, that's a family friendly show too. Mostly. But and all that leadership capital is just dissolved right in there.
Yeah, you lose respect.
You lose respect if you go off on people, right? And that's why you should always praise in public, coach in private, right? That's a huge thing. If you start coaching in public, you're going to lose respect not only from the person you're coaching, but for the other people that are witnessing it.
Yeah, because it's humiliating.
It is. And nobody wants to be in that person's shoes.
Yeah.
So if you do need to make a correction publicly, make sure that it's a mistake that more than one person is making.
True.
Right.
And don't attach names.
No, just general. A general announcement. Hey, here's a reminder. This is how we do this. And then attach something from your knowledge base or your training manual, your standard operating procedures that they can read up on and be like, oh yeah, that is in there.
Yeah, to just reiterate.
So don't name names and don't give specifics, right? On this date, somebody took a call with this job number
At this hour.
and it's on the call, it's recorded. You can listen to it if you want, but I'm not going to name any names.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, you're going to lose leadership capital. No one's going to trust you,
Yeah.
right? Because mistakes happen. It's part of being human. It's also a part of being AI. AI makes a lot of mistakes. You can just play around with ChatGPT like enough, and you'll see all the mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? It happens. So this is not just a human thing. Although since AI was programmed by humans, there you go.
True.
It is what it is. So you want to make things comfortable, right? As comfortable as possible
Yeah.
for your people. Otherwise, well, one, they're not going to be comfortable. And you know who they're going to blame for not being comfortable? They're going to blame you.
The leader.
Because you know what? And they're right.
Yeah.
So everything, it's like the old saying, right? People don't leave jobs. They leave bad bosses. Right?
Yeah.
So, and like, there's arguments against that. Like, there's situations where it's not because of that. They're leaving because of X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah, but it stems from the leader.
Usually, unless like, hey, I'm going to school.
Oh.
Right. So, but for the most part, it's because they leave bad leaders. I've heard leaders sometimes protest that. Be like, no, it wasn't. They didn't leave because of me. They left because of the pay. Who's paying them? If you're not directly in charge of their payroll, one of the leaders in the company is.
Yeah.
There you go. If they couldn't work with them, then yeah, they're not leaving because of the job. They're leaving because of the pay, which means bad leadership. It is what it is.
It's a domino effect.
Yep. Unless they're making like, let's say, $20 an hour, and they're like, you know what, I want to get paid $50 an hour, or I quit. Then it's something else. So that's when that outlier effect comes in. But you only have a certain amount of leadership capital. And if you waste it, it's gone. And it takes forever to build it back up to have a usable amount.
Yeah.
And so keep stacking that paper, as they say.
Okay.
And start investing that leadership capital not only in your people, but also in people that you want to turn into the next round of leaders, right? Because the more you invest, the more dividends you're going to get back, and your leadership capital bank will keep filling up.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, whatever you do, don't waste it. Don't gamble with it, unless you're sure you have a win.
Yeah, because it's hard to earn.
Yeah.
And very easy to lose.
All right, you want to add anything else?
No, guys. Just if you got anything out of this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share with anybody you know. Let's make the show grow. And tune into David's new podcast, Revamped.
Yeah.
Bye.
Right.